Hello everyone. Today's video I will be sharing with you my first attempt at making donuts. Alright, so I'm just showing you my ingredients, and I don't have measurements that will be posted in the video, so I will have the ingredients and measurements in the description below. So I have flour, actually bread flour, sugar, 1 stick of butter, 2 large eggs, a pack of yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I think a cup and a half of milk, but I'm not for sure. But the ingredients will be down in the description below. Alright, so first I have my milk, and make sure your milk is at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And I added my pack of yeast, and I'm just going to give that a stir. I'm just going to make sure that it's completely mixed together. Okay. And after everything is mixed together, then you will cover it. You normally would cover this with saran wrap, but I only had aluminum foil, so let it sit for 5 to 6 minutes. After 5 to 6 minutes, then you can pour it into your mixer or a large bowl. And I have my KitchenAid mixer with my dough hook on it. I'm gonna also pour in my melted butter, but make sure it is cool and it's not hot. Okay, so I'm going to turn that on medium. And I'm going to add my sugar. Okay, and my teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add in my eggs, 1 at a time. And I'm going to add in my bread flour, a cup at a time. And you'll see with each cup that it will turn into a batter, and then soon it will turn into a dough. As you can see here, it appears to be forming into a dough now, and you're just gonna keep letting your mixer mix everything until it is well combined. And be sure to have a spatula to scrape down the sides of your bowl so that all ingredients can be incorporated. while it's being mixed. Okay, so after everything has been mixed together and incorporated, I'll just letting that go just a couple more times because there was some loose flour and that was on top of the dough attachment. Okay, so everything is mixed together. So in a large bowl, you will take some cooking spray and just spray around the sides of the bowl and at the bottom. And this is for your dough to sit in, because your dough will have to rise, and you will let your dough rise for about an hour and a half and cover it with saran wrap. So the dough is in the bowl, and you will leave this alone for an hour and a half because it has to rise. So you will wrap the top of the bowl with saran wrap. Me, I didn't have saran wrap again. I only had wax paper and aluminum foil. Okay, so on this part, I'm just showing you an insert after an hour and a half. This is how it looks. Okay, so on the cookie sheet, when we get ready to roll out our dough to cut out our donuts, we will sit our cut out donuts on the parchment paper or wax paper lined cookie sheet. Alright, so on a clean surface, you will sprinkle some flour on a clean flat surface, and this is where we will begin our kneading process of kneading the dough before we roll it. Alright, and mind you, I am not a professional at this. I'm not a bread maker, and this is my first attempt of trying to make donuts. So over time, if I do this again, I can perfect it over time. So I'm not going to beat myself up if this didn't turn out right. Alright, so you will knead the dough for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, and I was letting one of my daughters help. She wanted to help, so she wanted to get her hands dirty and try to knead the dough as well. Yep, so I decided to put a little flour on her face to make her look like she's hard at work. She was trying to make a heart. Alright, so now it's time to roll out the dough with a rolling pin. And I put a little flour on the rolling pin so it will prevent sticking. And this was kind of a difficult part because the dough kept retracting. So it's like you really got to put some elbow grease into rolling the dough or it will contract. And make sure you roll it no more than a 1/2 inch thick. Alright, so my dough is rolled out to the best of my ability. So now it's time to cut out the donuts. And the donut cutter I have isn't a great quality donut cutter. I did purchase it off of Amazon and it appeared to be bigger than what I thought it was on the picture, but it's small. So my donuts will come out smaller with this cutter. So make sure if you ever want to do donuts that you get a good quality donut cutter. So we're cutting out donuts and we're placing them on our line, our parchment paper or wax paper lined cookie sheet. Okay. So we have a cookie sheet full of donuts, and I know they look a little raggedy, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to let the donuts rest for about 45 minutes because they have to rise again. And I was just showing you that to make sure you have oil heating up after 45 minutes after your donuts rise. As you can see here, they do look a little bigger than the first picture. So they have rise for about 45 minutes. And those are the donut holes. We're going to make the glaze, so that's about 4 cups of powdered sugar and a 1/2 cup of milk. And I also added about a teaspoon of vanilla extract in the icing as well. Alright, so basically you're just going to mix that up until it's well combined and it makes a creamy frosting. And it'll be time to fry our donuts. Alright, so as you can see, compared to the picture on the right hand top corner, that the donuts appear to be bigger than they were. So they set up for about 45 minutes before I fried them. And the oil, I use canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, and make sure the oil is about 350 degrees when frying the donuts. And it doesn't take long at all for these to fry, maybe less than a minute on each side, or until they are golden brown. And you can tell here that they are browning very quickly. Alright, time to give them a flip. they are done, and I will place them on my wired cooling rack. And time to cook more. So I kind of flipped those a little early, but it's okay. And if you feel like your grease is too high, then you can lower the heat to keep your donuts from overcooking. And it doesn't take long at all. You see how fast these cook. Another safe method of placing the donuts in the hot oil is you can cut square sheets of parchment or wax paper slightly bigger than what the size of the donut would be, and you can use that as a guide to slip your donuts into the oil. Alright, my daughter dropped in a donut hole. She wanted to try one while the donuts are cooking. So all of my donuts are done, and I have my donut holes in, and I'm cooking those. Alright, so now it's time to ice the donuts. So I'm just putting them in the bowl and with a fork, and just basically just submerging them in the icing and making sure that they are fully covered with icing. Looks good to me. Now, they may not look like Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts, but hey, they homemade. Alright, so basically I just did all of those until all the donuts were frosted. Alright, so I had just enough frosting to throw in my donut holes to frost them. And as you can see, everything is complete and everything has been frosted or iced. Okay, just giving you a closer look. How do you think they look? Did I burn them? Did I overcook them? Because I tried. But that's how all of them look, and they are on a platter. My family tried them and they say they were pretty good. Now they are not Krispy Kreme texture, but I think I did a good job and they came out okay.